What is up, fans of Grapplers Talk? This is Dave coming at you with another episode each and every week. Thank you to the fans for downloading and tuning into the podcast. We're truly just thrilled to bring you guys some of the best grappling content out there. And I am thankful for all of our partners in this, including our partners over at Spar Bar Soap. Go check them out. Don't be the stinky guy or gal in the gym. Go use Spar Bar Soap, some of the best antifungal, antibacterial soap out there. It is truly there's scents that they have out there are really really good. I've been using them for a few months now, and man, I'm really impressed. My skin feels great. I don't have any allergy issues or anything like that. It's great soap. Go check them out. Use code word Grapplers Talk. You'll get 10% off of all of your orders. They also dropped their new microfiber towels that are awesome for throwing in the training bag and having to clean up some sweat or whatever it is, right? And we're also thankful for our partners over at Butterfly X BFX Gear on Instagram. Go check them out on their website. And don't forget to use code word Grapplers Talk 10 over there. They just dropped their new gis. They got a ton of different rash guard kits out there. Their patriotic rash guard kit is pretty awesome. Comfort kills. They got a bunch of different ones out there. Go check them out. BFX Gear on Instagram. Type in code word Grapplers Talk 10. You'll get 10% off all of your orders. Again, the gis that they just dropped are really badass. So go check them out. BFX Gear. Now that we got that out of the way, I am thankful to be joined today via Zoom on the podcast. I got in touch through this with this gentleman through our friends over at Spar Bar Soap, and again, thank you guys for reaching out. And I'm always trying to give the fans and people of the show, what they want, and I like to be the voice of the people and get your guys' interviews out that you want to hear. And I'm thankful to be joined by none other than Mike Flach today, head coach of the Lair. Man, how are you doing, brother?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm doing great, man, and thank you again for being a part of this. We're excited to have you. I see the beautiful gym in the back, man. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, man.
Let's get started in your journey and kind of talk to the fans in NorCal and all over the country how you got started in jiu-jitsu, grappling, wrestling, martial arts in general.
Man, I grew up as kind of just like so everything kind of revolves around the Ninja Turtles, which is it's silly, right? But I since I can remember, I was obsessed with the Ninja Turtles and martial arts and skateboarding. So as a kid, I was just skating around, being a knucklehead, fucking around, and then I think my freshman year of high school, between freshman and sophomore year of high school, my uncle sent me to a wrestling camp, and just because he wrestled and he was like, "Hey, I'll pay for you to do this. You want to do this?" And I went to it and fell in love. Wrestled throughout high school from that point forward, and then after high school, things weren't really working out in the way where I could wrestle in college. I was wrestling at Mount Sac College down here for a little bit, practicing with the team. But just I had to job was more important, paying rent was more important, and so I had to step away from that. And then one of my assistant wrestling coaches from my high school team was actually training and fighting at Millennia May, so he brought me into Millennia, and then from that point forward, it was just kind of that was my focus. Switched into MMA, and then MMA didn't really go. I didn't really make as much noise in MMA. I made it on Ultimate Fighter, had a fight there, fought RFA, fought some good guys, but things just didn't really go my way. So kind of once I hit like 30, 31, wasn't making the money I wanted. My body was taking kind of a toll. So I kind of just made the decision to kind of pivot and put all my eggs into the basket of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. It's crazy though. You talked about something important with wrestling, right? And you had to pay the bills, and being a wrestler, like it's a cool thing, and you get cauliflower ear and everyone thinks you're badass and all this stuff like that, but it's a hard grind, and there's not much reward at the end of the tunnel. Like you have to be one of the absolute elite special edition, whatever it takes to actually get to the highest level, which is like the Olympics.
Yeah.
and And even once you get there, there's really not that much illustrious things that go along with it. You don't get a ton of money. You may get a few endorsements, maybe some shoes or some wrestling singlets want you, but there's not really a lot of money to be made in that kind of career, especially if you're not in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, that was like the other decision. I was like, well, I can't make any money wrestling. I was nowhere near good enough to make money wrestling. And I was like, well, I'll do MMA. And it's funny is I didn't make any money doing that either. But, at the time, I thought that was the move.
Yeah. Yeah, and even MMA is the same route, right? Like you have to, especially in the early days, I remember like one fight made or break it made the difference in everything, right? Like you lost the fight. That was your shot at the UFC, right? So there's a lot of things that can happen, and the game can go either way for you. You could have been one fight away from a huge contract, or one fight away from fighting on the smallest shows around, right?
Yep, yep, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it's a tough path. Talk to me about your jujitsu career, and kind of going through. Were you primarily training in the gi or the no gi? How was that working coming off of a MMA game?
More. I've always been more um like comfortable and natural nogi, just because coming off of wrestling and MMA, like throughout the years, I've always kind of I've never stopped doing gi. And as I was learning jiu-jitsu, like I would kind of go between these phases where like I'd be really into nogi, I'd be really into gi, and it just kind of was based off of like what's clicking for me. It's like, oh, like I'm learning a lot of stuff nogi. This is cool. Oh, now I'm learning a lot of things gi. I'm learning grips and lapel transfers and stuff like that. And now I try to keep an even focus of both, but honestly, it's still more of a no-gi focus. Like when I compete, 95% of my competitions are no-gi. I try to get like one gi competition in a year. At my gym, most of the classes are no-gi. Like we have 2 gi days a week, and then everything else is no-gi. So it's not really an even um, transfer between the two, or even ratio, but I don't want to kill the gi. You know what I mean? It's like I've entertained the thought of like, hey, maybe we should just be a no gi gym, but um, I'm not ready to kill the gi just yet. But we definitely are like more no gi heavy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it kind of depends on what you guys are focusing on, right? There's gyms that can be focusing on MMA and certain no-gi competitions like ADCC. But it kind of depends what you want to focus on. Our gym primarily does gi, right? We have very few no gi nights, and you would think, right, with the rise of no gi jiu-jitsu and where it's at, but there is still, I believe, some sort of way to get the gi competition back to an elite standard, and maybe some rule changes. I've talked about it for the past few weeks on the podcast, but there's something that needs to shift and something that needs to change to get the gi back into the highlights and the competitions. And now that the UFC is involved, I mean, do you think that there's something that can be done different?
You know what? I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle just because of where it's at right now and just how like so I like something that I talk to my students about a lot is that like me and the gym is like we're committed to exciting jiu-jitsu, right? So it's like I want nothing to do with effective jiu-jitsu if it's not exciting. So it's like there's exciting, effective, and there's in the middle where you can be exciting and effective. And that's kind of where I'm at, and I want everybody to be there. And I think there's a place for that in no gi and in gi, but in gi it's like almost like you have more it's more easily accessible to slow down, right? So like
Yeah,
you get tired and it's
that's the
like
point of the gi, right? To slow your
exactly
opponent down.
exactly. So it's like, even if you're in your head, you're like, all right, I'm gonna be exciting, I'm gonna push the pace. You get undisciplined, you get tired, and you're like, you forget about your goal. You're like, oh, fuck that. Like, I'm gonna fucking grab a hold of this guy. He's fucking moving way too fast. So
Yeah.
I think it's like the responsibility comes down to each individual athlete, each coach, kind of spreading that mindset and mentality of like, hey, it's when you guys go out and compete, it's more exciting to have eyeballs on you than whether you win or lose. Like
Yeah.
like if you have a crowd of people wanting to watch you, that's better than, you having a picture at the end of the weekend of you fucking holding a $5 medal on a podium that
Right.
everybody, nobody cares about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's the Nate Diaz effect, right? I mean, you look
Yes.
at Nathan Diaz, and I mean his last 5 fights in the UFC. I mean, most of them were losses, right? If you think about it, but he was exciting to watch, and he brought eyes on the sport,
Yeah.
and it's funny. I remember back in the day, Dana White said he wasn't a needle pusher. He definitely pushed the needle, right?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
Along, I kind of like, I get it's almost like a similar, like exact similar story. Like he's controversial now because of all the shit that happened, but J Rod
yeah,
was that way. And I talked, I'm pretty close with the owner of LXB, and he was talking to me about him and saying like, this guy's he's lost his last 5 matches, but he gets more eyeballs than anybody else. Everybody's excited to watch J Rod compete, and it's not because he's winning; it's because he's exciting.
yeah. That's what it's about. You got to definitely be exciting. Get the people into it, right? We're trying to change jujitsu into more of a mainstream art, it seems like, right? And the more attention we can get on the sport, the better, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But let's talk about the Lair and how that was born. Obviously, how did you come up with the logo? What was the initial thought behind it? And then, talk to us a little bit about the culture in the gym.
So again, everything comes back to me being stuck in my youth and not willing to grow up. So the lair is kind of like a play on like the turtle's lair, right? So it's like or the foot lair, right? So it's like, and I kind of wanted to have the environment and the vibe in here feel like, I don't know if you ever watched the original Turtles movie, but there's like a scene where they go into like the foot lair, and it's like people are skating, playing guitar, playing video
Yeah.
games, smoking cigarettes, playing pool. And like I kind of wanted to be one of those things where it was like, hey, this place where we escape, we go here and we train to get better so that, and we have fun, and then so we can go back out of the world and do like the things that we want to do in the world.
Yeah.
The logo like kind of came together. The logo is something that's like one of my favorite things because it kind of came together as like it didn't work out very well at first. I hired somebody to make my logo, and like the first time I told her what I wanted, it was really just word vomit. I was like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this, and it looked like shit. And then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I feel like okay, this is my fault. Let me simplify. Like, let me take a few days. Let me figure out exactly what I want. Let's simplify it. And then she came back with this logo. I don't know if you can like see it. Boom. It's like
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah,
It's
it's
almost like
pretty
a
sick.
Miami Vice like type
Yeah,
feel to it, right?
yeah. So it's and the colors are sick. That's one of the it's like bright colors and like 80s 90s vibe.
Yeah.
And it's just it's become something pretty cool that stands out, especially in our community, especially with like most jiu-jitsu gyms are pretty cut
Red
and
and
dry. It's
black.
like, yeah, red and
Yeah.
black. You got a fucking triangle or a circle with the
Circle.
fucking name through it, right? And
Yep.
it's
Yep.
it's just it's basic. So I
Yeah.
wanted something that was a little different.
Yeah, no, that's definitely I'm the same way when it comes to how I think. I want to be a little bit different, but you have to be different to really stand out and make a difference, especially in bigger markets. Where you're at. There's gyms, everywhere. If you go down
Yeah.
south, I mean, just traveling through the different areas, you'll come across 20, 30 gyms in different areas. So
Hmm.
to be different, to stand out. But you obviously, every gym has an identity, in my opinion. Every gym has a culture, and it's kind of based on the head instructor and what they create in their gym, in their environment. Talk to me about like the culture you're creating with your students, and some of the things you want to establish and instill in the future generations of jiu-jitsu.
So I mean that's you hit the nail on the head. It's like all we have is our culture and environment. I'm not a world champion. I'm not like we have Lucas Lech like down the road who's like invented a half guard, like multiple time world champion. We have these guys around here, and it's like I don't have that. So what do I got? And it's like I could bring a really cool environment. I can the product that I can bring is like, hey, you could do this thing that you can do anywhere else, but you can probably have a lot more fun doing it here than you can anywhere else. We're not going to take it as serious. We're going to talk some shit. You don't got to call me fucking professor. one of my big like troll things I think is pretty funny is we have in place of having like Helio Gracie on the wall where you bow to it. I have a picture of Fred Durst on the wall. So it's like, so like if you're gonna bow to anybody on the way in, go ahead and bow to our Lord and Savior Freddie B. But and then and like just in but then like I'm more competition focused. I'm more we train pretty hard when we come here, but then like we also have fun. Like so we train hard throughout the week, and then like Fridays we have an open mat at night, and then afterwards we always stay for like 2 hours afterwards, have some beers, hang out for a little bit. I have an arcade in the gym. We play some video games here. Nice little even balance. Our rules, like we have the gym. I'm looking at them. I don't want to walk you over there, but like the rules are like hey, if you're going to do all levels class, you're not allowed to sit out rounds unless you're hurt. If you're hurt enough to sit out one round, then you got to sit out all the rounds. Like you can't just cherry pick like, oh, I'm tired, I need to like
Yeah.
jump out, jump back in. Like if you're going to cuss, do it right. You can cuss, that's fine, but like
Yeah.
just do it the right way. There's some like funny ones on there, and it's just everything is a mix of like, hey, let's get after it, but also don't take yourself so fucking serious. Like this is
Yeah.
we're in here doing a fucking things that most people are like dropping their kids off for an after school program, and then we're adults in here fucking doing this.
Yeah, we're paying to be here, as a paying
Yeah,
person or student, right? You don't almost want to feel like you're like paying to be a part of like a cult or paying
yeah,
to
yeah,
be like, in trouble, right?
yeah,
I hated being in trouble as a kid. I got in a lot of trouble, but the last thing I want to do is as an adult, get in trouble at work or whatever, and then go to
yeah.
jujitsu and feel like you're in trouble all the time. So you got to have a good laid back environment. And it seems like that's what you're creating at the Lair. Do you guys focus? You said you focus a lot on competition. Primarily, what are you trying to do with your students out there in competition? Like, what are you trying to build? Are you trying to, get them to achieve their own success, or are you trying to get them to unlock some secrets, or what's the end goal?
I'm really like what I always tell my students is like I'm more invested in each individual person than I am in anything else, and that's like not I'm not invested in each individual person's jiu-jitsu. I'm invested in the person and who they are, right? And I believe that if you're going to do this thing and you want to get better at this thing and you want to learn as much as you can from this thing, you got to compete. And it's like that is like the secret to just growth. Like all I can like anybody who tells me like, hey, am I ready to compete? I always tell them yes. Yeah, go out and compete. Like you're gonna get your ass kicked probably first time. Doesn't matter if you train for 2 years or you train for 3 months. So you're gonna fucking lose. And then the goal is always, hey, first competition, what was the bar? Okay, you lost 2 matches and you got double eliminated. You didn't score a point. You got subbed. Okay, so the next time out, let's lose 2 matches but not get subbed. Okay, the next time out, let's lose 2 matches and score some points in one of the matches, right? And it's just always like climbing to the next level, climbing to the next level. And I feel like competition is just like the place where you test, right? It's like where you have your audience feedback. Like you could be in the room all day and it's like you can have these things at work and you could actually not do very well, but then when you're done with the round, because nobody is really honestly keeping score, you could come up and be like, hey, I did pretty good, like I swept this guy, but he was all over you for the most of the match, right? It's like
Yeah.
18, it would have been 18-2, but you think you did good because you're not focusing on anything else, right? So
Yeah.
competition is just to me a way where it's like you're not going to let go of the things. Like if you didn't do well, you're going to think about it longer. You're going to be more incentivized and motivated to fix that thing. And if you did well, you're going to really see it. You're going to be like, damn, like I'm a lot better at this than I thought I was. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that definite personal growth that people get from competing, and it is necessary. I think like you got to test yourself every once in a while. I get these itches, right? And I come from an MMA background too, and it's hard for me to go to a fight, especially nowadays and not get that itch, to want to get back in there, but I think it's good to test the waters every once in a while, and sometimes if you can't go out there and fight professionally or do anything like that, test them in the gym, step it up a little bit, turn on the pace a little bit more, right? And get those more intense rounds in. Um,
Yeah.
We are getting very close to some of the biggest, probably the biggest time in jiu-jitsu this year with CJI right around the corner. Not only do we have that, we got Master Worlds, all of these big competitions. A lot of people go out to Jiu-Jitsu Con and everything like that. What are you most looking forward to about CJI?
Um, I'm just looking forward to just a bunch of high level jiu-jitsu. It's like you look at all these teams and they're like, oh, sorry, I got this fucking fly driving me nuts right now. Um, you look at like all the teams and it's like I don't give a fuck if like how fair the teams are or whatever. Some people are talking about that. I'm just excited to see high level guys go against high level guys, high level girls go against high level girls. Like it's going to be a really sick event. And like we were talking about earlier, like I have a friend from high school. She's like a stylist. And so she worked CJI last year and she's working again this year. And she hit up me and my buddy, was like, hey, I can get you guys in if you guys want to go. And I was like, hell yeah. Like if I'm going to go, I'm also going to compete in Masters Worlds and do this whole thing. And
Yeah.
like I was like looking at everything, how it was going to line up. And like I honestly didn't even dare ask my wife. I didn't even ask her. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to save it for Nogi Worlds at the end of the
Yeah. You got to pick and choose them wisely,
year. Yeah.
But there's a lot of action, and I do like the way Craig Jones plans these events out, while there's other things going on. I mean, for the grappling fans and the jiu-jitsu fans, like, I mean, you had ADCC and CJI last time. I mean, that was absolutely amazing. I know so many people that went to both events. I talked
Yeah.
about it on the podcast how you could plan it out to really schedule it to where you can make the most of it and get the most action out of going to both events. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think if you're out there competing at Jiu-Jitsu Con and everything like that, and you are able to get to CJ, get out there. Make it
Yeah.
work. Like it's worth it. So it's definitely changing the game of grappling, especially with these $1 million cash prizes. That's huge, right?
Yep. It's kind of testing a lot of people with the whole, it's like I love Craig because of he kind of does a lot of the things that I'm trying to do, which is just like be exciting. It's like bring a little bit of the entertainment into what this is. Like nobody really wants to just watch grappling. They're like the people who do are like very
Hardcores.
even the people who even of my, we have like 200 members now. I think of those 200 members, probably maybe like 25 of them are the ones that are gonna be like watching just grappling for the sake of grappling, right? So it's like even the people who like this enough to do it and pay money for a membership, there's still a smaller percentage of people who are just gonna want to. So you gotta have entertainment with it, just
Right.
like the UFC does, just like WWE does, and all that shit. It's got to be fun.
Yeah. There's got to be entertainment or even rivalry. Something
Yeah,
to something
yeah,
to get people watching, something to get people invested.
yeah.
It needs to be done, but the $1 million cash prizes for the women. Now Craig's he's given out $1 million prizes in the past. He's given them out again. Now with these big cash prizes, do you think that we're gonna see a few more of these MMA guys? Like, there's probably a lot of good grapplers in the UFC that don't want to get punched in the face, and they may be fighting on the undercards too. That's the other thing, and
Yeah,
now we're giving these guys an opportunity to potentially make $1 million.
yeah.
Like, it's giving a whole new sense of ways to make money in this grappling game, right?
hmm Yeah. And that's like the sick thing too, is like if grappling is what it is, what it was, or what it is right now, when I was coming from wrestling, I would have never done MMA. I
Right.
would have gone with grappling. And it's
Why?
like, yeah, because even if I'm not making the $1 million, like I could again, like just if you're exciting enough, you could make enough money on your platform by having enough people follow you and pushing products or whatever, having Patreons
Endorsements,
or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, and like to where you could live well and
Instructionals.
like yeah, and then like not live well, but live like you could you could like support your lifestyle, like and when I was in my 20s, I was barely supporting my lifestyle and I was training and like most of my money was going to partying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the issue. So yeah, like hands down, that's what I would have done. And what I meant to say earlier is like it's cool because like these you see like this $1 million cash prize, like Craig is really challenging like the old like martial arts adage of like loyalty. Like some guy like you got to be loyal to the ADCC, and and some of these guys are like, why, bro? Like $1 million
Yeah.
have changed my life. Like,
Yeah.
why am I loyal to this guy who doesn't even like this promotion who's like barely paying us? I mean, I can go over to this promotion and get paid the same amount of money that I would get paid for winning my division, and then get paid like 10 times that, or 100 times that if I win it. And we had William Tackett here last year around, I think it was like June or July, and he was like talking to us about that. Like it was like, yeah, man, like CJI, like, yeah, we made the decision, me and my brother, to do CJI because it's like, we didn't want to burn a bridge with ADCC, but $1 million is $1 million, man. And they're like some of the most honorable kids in the game.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, if you're a hardcore grappling fan and you know the game well enough, you know that anybody can get caught at any time. So you
Yeah.
really do have a chance, especially if you're an elite grappler. Like everybody that was in CJI. I mean, we saw it with Victor Hugo, right? He got taken out right off the bat. Anybody can get taken out of these things.
Hmm.
So you really do actually have a chance where, I mean, the glitz and glamour of going through the UFC, through the Contender Series, and everything it takes to be a world class champion to make those big dollar paydays. Most of the guys in the UFC never even make $1 million in a fight,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for
even
sure.
even
For
with
sure.
win bonuses. Let's be real.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
it's
And
it's very
it's
tough.
yeah, it's like, I mean, it can be like, I think MMA is even more of a crapshoot than jiu-jitsu too. It's like, I think in jiu-jitsu more times than not the better guy wins, but in MMA it's like you've always got that, like,
That
you always got that
yeah.
chance of like getting caught with something that you didn't see coming, and then like that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a heartbreaking game sometimes with
Yeah.
MMA.
Yeah. And if it happens in the wrong fight, like you said, it's a huge deal. If it happens at that fight where it was about to be the one where you
Yeah,
went here, that's it. And that was like, for me, that was kind of what happened. It's like I was on Ultimate Fighter, lost my fight to get into the house, and then after that, it was like now all of a sudden I had Ultimate Fighter attached to my name, and then nobody wanted to fight me, and then I took like a fight on like 8 days notice against Davi Ramos, and they like promised me that they would give me another fight after that, and then lost that fight, and then they fucking left me. They just like left me high and dry, and then kind of
yeah,
everything just I like me being stupid took like a verbal agreement. Like I didn't
yeah,
I didn't have them like, hey, give me like a 2 fight contract or something, and then it is the game.
yeah. Well, and I mean, unless you have like some crazy good managers and stuff, most people are managing their own fights and their own careers. Especially when they're first getting started. I know a few fighters locally that, their dad was managing a lot of their stuff and, maybe wasn't getting them the best fights. Maybe he wasn't, making the
Yeah.
best decisions, but it does happen, and unfortunately, it's tough. That's the road of MMA fighters, and that can be what we go through sometimes. And it's the journey, though. It teaches us something along the way. Everyone has a different journey along, their path of jujitsu or wherever we're at in life, but all of it teaches us something, and I'm sure your experiences fighting and on the Ultimate Fighter and everything that you went through along the way with wrestling, and it's taught you a lot about your overall life and your overall self, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And as much as like things didn't go the way I wanted them to with MMA, like I don't regret anything. It's like I could look back and I'd be like, man, I wish I didn't like. Honestly, I'm like, I wish I didn't party so much, and wasn't out chasing girls and doing all this shit. But it's like it's what I did, and I don't regret it because it led me to where I'm at now. And now it's like I got an awesome, beautiful gym with a bunch of awesome people. I've got an awesome family, awesome kids, and it's like, what? It's like maybe it wouldn't have ended up here if it would have been different, and I wouldn't choose that.
Yeah. How, let me ask you this from an instructor standpoint, how do you keep yourself from getting kind of burnt out or get to a point to where you're a little like monotonous, like, it just seems like it's going over and over, same kind of routine. How do you change it up to keep it fresh for yourself?
So for one, it's like to keep myself competing. If I'm competing, then I'm more incentivized to keep learning. And if I'm learning and I'm adding new things to my game, I'm adding new things that I can teach other people. And I don't really feel comfortable teaching things until I've added to my game. So it's nice. I have like double incentive. It's like, hey, I want to get good at this thing, good enough to where I can be effective and comp. But I also want to be good enough to where I can convey this information to a group of people as well. So then it makes me it like incentivizes me to really intimately learn new things and keep things fresh there. Um, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up before this is over. I had like a earlier this year, I got diagnosed with testicular cancer, and I had surgery and everything. I'm all in remission now, but I had to take the most time off that I've probably ever had to take while I was doing this, and I was like just a lot of like shit in my head where I was like, man, like I don't like if the day comes where I have to stop competing, I don't know. I'm like worried that I won't be as happy doing this, you know? And
Yeah.
like I was like, I gotta do some mindset shifts if that ever does come to fruition, because being out of training and competition, and then also like almost like imposter syndrome. Like I didn't believe in I was like, how can I learn something well enough to teach it if I can't do it, if I can't train? And I started thinking about things like guys like Donaher. I'm like, man, like he's just like he's so smart. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know how can you tell if something is going to work or not without actually physically doing it and trying to impose it on other people? And it just takes a special person to do it. And I just had, like I was just like, I'm not sure if I'm that guy, you know?
Yeah. No, definitely. It can really start to mess with you, and doubt can start to creep in, and and you see a lot of people. I went through it when I had a shoulder surgery. I was out for a very, very long time. And you go through a depression when you have injuries, and you're battling different things in life, and it can really
Yeah.
get you down and in the dumps when it comes to a lot of different things, especially your training, and if you can't train.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm lucky to have this gym to run because it like kept me here, you know? So it's like,
Yeah.
I took like a week and a half where I stayed home and recovered. But as soon as I was able to like walk and do, I was here, I was coaching, I like, hey, you do. And I would kind of talk through the technique rather than me doing it, and I'm really lucky that my original coach, my coach, Romeo Ram, that's how I got brought into being part of like the gym as far as like the staff and at Millennia, because I was doing what I was doing. I was being a knucklehead, and I was every time I would fight, I would disappear for 2 months and go party and then come back. And he was like, "Hey man, like work at the gym. Like that way, like if you want to fuck off, like at least you're in the gym every day. Like you have a reason to be here every day." And he was right. Like it being in the gym every day made me train more consistently, right? Sometimes I mean, all the time, it's like just getting to the gym is the hard part, right? So
Right.
like
Yeah.
even
First
if I'm
battle.
fucking, yeah, even if I'm hungover and I'm too busy being an idiot, I know I got to go to the gym to work. And it's like once I'm there, I'm like, fuck it, I might as well train. Even if I feel like shit, I'm going to train. And I've been able to keep that mentality going, and I saw what it did to me. So now I kind of hold myself accountable that way. I'm like, okay, I got to be there. As long as I'm there, I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah. No, it's important. I tell people that's the hardest thing, is getting through the doors, and if you have a reason, I noticed, like, the more teaching I was doing, the more I was there more. And
Yeah.
it,
Hmm.
it kind of drives you, and depending on what your driving factor is, right? But
Yeah.
getting in there is the hardest thing. I tell people with injuries too, like, don't stay home with an injury. Like, that's the worst thing you can possibly do in jiu-jitsu. You lose so much progress. You learn so, like, you lose all of your, like, your jujitsu mental awareness, right? And knowing what to do
Hmm.
at certain times, and you get out of practice and out of focus. And man, if you can just go and watch, or go and play dress up, I don't care, get on the mats, even if you got a hurt
Yeah.
knee, hurt shoulder, whatever it is, right? Get out there, and still put yourself out there, to learn, and keep the mind trained.
Yep. And it's like you're like an injury doesn't have to completely halt your momentum, right? It's like if you just stay home and fucking eat snacks and smoke weed and drink all, then yeah, it's gonna actually like be really negative for you, like really, really negative for you. But if you can make your way to the gym on a regular basis, you're still part of that community. You're still seeing the people that are important to you. You're still here, and you're still. It's like, yeah, your momentum is slowed down, but it isn't stopped. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I think sometimes when people, it's you said it's a mental like mind fuck. And when you get injured, that you feel like that. You're like, oh fuck, I can't train. This is all I want to do is train. And you hear people say that. I wish I could train, and it's like, well, then show up to the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Like if you want to train as bad as you say you want to train, but then you're fucking off and you're never in the gym, and it's hard for me to believe you. You know?
Yeah, a good friend of mine, he's talked about it a couple times. A couple years ago, he was going through some stuff, and he had a lot going on in his personal life, and he just told me, he's like, I just don't have the time to train. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, man, because like everyone gets the same amount of time in a day. And if it's that important to you, you'll figure out a way to do it, right? Like just
Mhm,
like we
mhm.
figure out a way to brush our teeth and figure out a way to take a shower and comb our hair and whatever we do, right? We figure it out and we all get the same amount of time. And truly, if it's that important, I mean, shoot, you'll find 5 a.m., 6 a.m. classes, late classes, private lessons. There's a lot of different ways you can get better and continue your progress. But like you said, and something that's crucial is just the routine of driving to the gym, right? And you
Mhm.
get out of that routine, all of a sudden you're like, man, this is a long drive, or there's so many different things that can come up. But getting actually in the gym and getting through that routine and dressing up and tying your belt or whatever you got to do to fake it till you make it sometimes, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's just momentum and streaks, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's like how have you spent, like you said, have you spent more days in a row going to the gym or more days in a row not going to the gym? And then so when you try to do the opposite of that, it's going to be even harder, right? So if you spent
Yeah.
more days going to the gym, it's going to be easier to keep going to the gym. If you spent more days not going to the gym, it's going to be exponentially harder to get up and
Yeah.
go, because it's just like I'm an idiot, but it's like Newton's law of fucking motion or whatever it is, like
Yeah, I don't
opposite
know.
motion tends to stay motion, I mean, it makes sense, but it's and it
Yeah.
and it kind of it works everywhere, so
Yeah, no, you're very right though. It is important, man, and for those that are out there, the blue belts, right? Don't get the blue belt blues, is what I call them. Those fresh blue belts that get promoted, and then all of a sudden, training becomes less and less, and then they go on the back of the milk carton, right?
yeah, you know what, man,
That's
the way
always a
that I
bummer.
it is a bummer. It is a bummer. And the way that I think about that, honestly, maybe this is the wrong way to think about it, but I feel like those people are always going to be those people in whatever they do. So it's like they're just kind of looking for their first reward and accomplishment. And then they're like, okay, I've gotten validation. I've gotten this feel good moment out of this, and I'm done. Like, wait, if you become really focused on the belts and achievements and stuff like that, that's what happens. But
Yeah.
if you're focused on just getting better, and you really just like training, then you're going to stick with it after that point. So I don't really, the blue belt blues. It's like a real thing that happens, but like I feel like the people who quit are always going to be people who quit. They're gonna
Yeah.
bounce between every new thing that they try to do. It's going to be a phase of their life, and that's okay. They will be a blue belt at most things that they try, and they'll never be a black belt in anything that they go to do. And some people prefer to live that way.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right though. Absolutely hit the nail on the head with that. Man, Mike, it's been awesome talking to you so far and getting to chat with you about jujitsu and I just want to kind of see what goals you have for the future with the layer and what you want to accomplish and also for your personal journey. What are some of the future plans that you want with your jujitsu?
I mean, me personally, like I think I've kind of missed the opportunity to be like a world champ, like an adult world champ or an ADCC champ or anything. I'll be 38 in a month, and things just don't work the way they used to work. But
Yeah.
I I have a goal at least to be a Nogi world champ in whatever, whatever Masters division I keep getting into. I'm going to do that. Last year I got second in Masters 2 in my weight division. So I'm this year going to try to get, just go back. I'm just going to keep trying to go back every year until I get to that podium. And I'm sure once I get there, just how everything is, like, I'm going to want to do it better or differently. It's just everything is for me is steps. And that's a big one. I'm going to keep trying to test myself as much as I can. Big, like if there's ever an opportunity for me to get some exposure, like the Subversive coming up, any big super fights that are in the area, I'm going to try to do those. And I'm always going to, I made a decision like once I stopped fighting, or it was around the time that I stopped fighting. It was like my last year doing it, that I just was not going to say no to any opportunities. Because I used to have a tendency to try to pick the right opportunity, try to pick one that like, I knew I had a good chance of succeeding at, and I lost out on a lot of things. So my mindset has just been like any opportunity I get, I say yes. I go out there, whether I'm prepared, whether I'm not, and it's been good that way. As far as the gym goes, I just want to be I would like to open up eventually like multiple locations, but first and foremost, expanding this location to a bigger place because we're about to hit our third year in January. We'll be uh, like officially 3 years, and we're getting to the point where there's not a lot of room in the gym. So we want to, I want to expand this to a bigger place. Once I get this to a bigger place, then we'll probably open up another location, and that may be years down the road. And then just continuing to build the brand and just be, I just want us to the Lair to be a thing where like when you hear it, it's kind of like okay, like I'm in for a tough match, or I'm in, I know what these guys bring. I know what they do here. And then also like just that everything is fun too. That's like my main thing is hey, like you're doing jiu-jitsu and we're doing jiu-jitsu, but we're having a lot more fun than and we do, if you look at our Instagram, you look at our YouTube, and we do like vlogs and stuff, and that's like it's pretty prevalent on there that like, we're a bunch of knuckleheads having a good time, but pushing to be our best at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay to have fun in jujitsu. It
Yeah,
really is. We don't have to be so serious, right?
people forget. I think people forget in more areas than just jujitsu that like you can have fun, man. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's on you. It's all on your mindset. Like you don't have to have a shitty time. You don't have to take things so serious. You don't have to be offended by shit. It's just like things don't hurt unless you make them hurt, a lot of the times.
Yeah. No, you're very right, man. And it's been truly an honor to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. I like to give our guests just a couple minutes for any shout outs, any love towards any of their training partners. But it's been an absolute honor talking to you, man. And I truly wish you nothing but success. But just take a couple minutes. The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, first and foremost, thank you, Dave, for having me on.
Yeah.
I love being on these things. Thank you to Robert and Kelly from Spar Bar. Appreciate you guys for getting this set up, and all my students. Without them, like the thing I always talk about with like jujitsu and like the community we have is it's really hard to. I hear a lot of negative shit about the world and how bad the world is, but it's hard for me to believe that when I have as many good people around me as I do. And I don't believe the world is as bad as everybody else tries to make it sound. Um, Utmost thank you goes to I've mentioned Romy a few times, but Romy Aram over at Millennium May just he's given me everything that I have. He's taught me everything that I know in this sport. As far as like technique, but then as far as like the business side, taught me how to run a gym, taught me how to open up a gym, never try to keep me from doing those things. And I owe him more than anything else, anybody else, in my life. And that's it. Thanks to my wife, my kids. They're now the top priority in my life behind jujitsu. And I haven't had anything be a priority above, wrestling, MMA, jujitsu until they came along. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, man. It's awesome, man. Family is truly what it's all about. Like, we're as we train and we fall in love with this sport, but over time, I have two daughters now, man. We were just talking about before the show, man, and dude, I just look at them and my whole world changes, right?
Yep,
So,
yep. The things you do and the shitty feelings you have, and you'll just endure so much, and it's like you keep doing the same shit you do, but it's like shit gets harder, but a lot more rewarding. It's at the same time.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you again for being on the show, man. Again, go check out our partners over at Spar Bar Soap. Type in code word Grapplers Talk, and you will get 10% off your order over there. Truly an awesome couple doing great things in the jiu-jitsu community. And also our partners over at Butterfly X, BFX Gear on Instagram. Go check them out. Place an order, type in code word Grapplers Talk 10, and you will get 10% off all of your orders over there. Once again, thank you, Mike, for being a part of this. This has been another great episode of Grapplers Talk. This is Dave, and we are out.